Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good, presented by Betches Media. It's another pop culture roundup. I really don't know how we're going to do this one because there's legitimately too much out there, but thank God we have her back. Not only is this woman getting married in just a couple of weeks. We just got our airplane ticket, so it's really official. She's getting married. Her team, the Bengals, actually won one today. I'm paying attention to sports. And then also I want to point out at the top of the show, which we'll talk about at some point as well, she has a new podcast called Snarkbait, SNARK Bait, BAIT. I was like Google, like this is how old I am. I'm like Google searching Sophie's
he sent me a screenshot.
Podcast.
He was like, "What's it called?" Like I was searching your name, Sophie Ross podcast.
Then I went to it because I was looking for the Instagram post, and then it was in your Instagram description. That's how I finally found it. But my God, literally a senior moment there for me. So she has a new podcast called Snarkbait with Christy, X Knows All. You might know that podcast as well. And we'll talk about what all that's about because her first episode, I think you're going to enjoy. It's Nick Viall. It just centers around Nick Viall.
All about Nick Viall, baby.
But there's legitimately too much going on right now. So let's get into it. The one and only Sophie Ross. Sophie.
Hi. And I also, if you listen to our first episode of Snarkbait, thank you so much. There's a moment I just gave Ryan a mea culpa. And he was like, what's a mea culpa? And I was like, an Olivia Culpo. Like an apology. Because I talk about how Nick Viall is encroaching when he all of a sudden decided that reality TV is his beat. Like Bravo is his beat. He's encroaching on like a women's and
you said a straight man.
He's a straight man. And so at one point in the episode, I say, stay in your lane, straight man. And my fiance, Henry, goes, what about Ryan? And
Thanks,
I was like,
Henry. Thanks,
I was like, I didn't even think about Ryan. No, it's because Ryan's an OG in the Bravo and reality TV space. So Ryan doesn't count.
I listened to it. I loved it. I didn't take offense to it. Also, I'm barely a straight man, so I don't even think that. I mean, like I feel like it's on the cusp at this point. But I will say there is, and I was telling Sophie this offline or off the show, is I kind of agree with that too. I get that criticism a lot of like, oh, look at you talking about all these women, It's not your place. I can't help what I like. I can't help what I've loved since I was a little kid. And I understand that perspective, but I think it is a valid criticism. And I always say that because I feel like this is primarily a woman's space and also LGBTQ. I feel like that's their space. I even feel like
you're allowed though, because you've been doing it for so long. You didn't just like jump on the trend and like when Sandoval happened, decided, oh my God, I'm going to start like talking about Bravo because there are so many like people that care about this stuff. Like you've been covering Bravo before it was like cool or trendy. So you're allowed.
Wait, Sophie, is it cool or trendy now? I feel like this is the
that's why Nick Viall's doing it now because it's cool and trendy now.
Wait, okay. So I swear to God, we will get into a bunch of other stuff, but I got it. Like you released this podcast this week. Has Nick Viall reached out, or has any of?
I don't think it's like come across his desk yet. I don't think it's come across his desk yet, but I'm like so blown away by like the positive feedback that we're getting already. So thank you if you're listening to this, because I know that there are like just a lot of people that have discovered me on So Bad It's Good and just like support my endeavors now, which is just like so amazing. So thank you, Ryan. And like, thank you listeners that have listened.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know about this yet, Sophie. So it's good that we can actually tell people about it and have this listenership go support, because what it does, you guys, it's really, and they say this at the very beginning, it's for the extremely online people. It's like the subreddit pages, the deep dives on these people that, and for you, like I consider myself really online, but nothing. I mean, I couldn't compare myself to you or Christy. I mean, you guys really are going into these spaces that I don't even go into, which is why it's really
dark
nice.
Web.
It is dark. I mean, there was this sense. I've had a sense of doom all weekend after all of that OC and all this stuff, but there is this sense of doom and dread. And I will say, this is right off the bat, just the first episode where I I was a little in shock of Christy when she said she gets a dark energy from Glenn Powell.
Oh, I know. I completely disagree with her there. Oh my God. I
was
love
like,
Glenn
what
Powell.
are you talking? Glenn Powell?
I know.
That-
He's like the most like golden retriever. Like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with Glenn Powell. Also, I know this is like so sidetracked, like ADD brain. I just watched Trap finally last night. The M. Night Shyamalan, Josh Hartnett movie.
Sophie loves M. Night Shyamalan, I will say.
I do.
She loved Old. Did Trap live up to its
It was so
predecessors?
silly. It was so silly. Like my fiance, not to like throw Henry under the bus, but he like doesn't like scary movies.
Classic straight man. You know what I'm saying, people? Classic straight man.
And he was like, it's going to be too scary. And then it like wasn't at all. So if you've like been like not watching because you think it's going to be like scary, it's not. It's like almost a comedy.
I want
it's
it to be
goofy and
scary.
silly. But I love Josh Hartnett now too. Like, oh my God, love him.
Well, Christy has a dark energy from Josh Hartnett.
Christy was like, I don't like Glenn Powell. I got bad vibes from him. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And then in the first episode, you guys, they even bring up Jake Shane, Octopussy guy, the influencer.
That's a whole thing.
Because you're going to cover that in a future episode. And I was like, wait, the kid that like is super fun. I mean, like, wait, there's bad stuff about Jake. You said Jake Shane would bully you in high school?
He definitely would.
I don't think I'm paying close enough attention.
I had a random person 5 minutes after our first episode dropped where we say this, a random person commented on my Instagram and goes, pass that puss. This girl doesn't like you for no reason. And so like, I'm scared of his fans now, but like, I think there's something nefarious about him. I don't know exactly what yet. I think it's like the industry plant of it all, how like he's just like randomly connected to like all of these celebrities out of nowhere.
Yeah, I did know that. Is that I didn't realize he was friends with some
Sophia Richie Grange's wedding. Like he's not just some like random TikToker. Like there's something like, I don't know. There's a deep nefariousness there. And yeah, I also feel like he would have like bullied me.
But the podcast, I just want to point out too, isn't just vibes. They actually have, information. They actually take you through, because I even learned a couple of things about Nick Viall because I don't listen to his show. I mean, I'll see clips of it and stuff. And I will say, like I always say, there's professional jealousy because this guy gets like the top tier guests all the time. So you're like, holy moly. The thing that I really agreed with you on is, how do you give? I didn't realize that he was so much of a relationship advice giver. And I'm just like, there is no way in hell that I could give relationship advice at all. And you would think that Nick would steer away from that as well, but he gives relationship advice.
It's honestly insane if you really think about it. It's like, you are a 4 times failed reality show contestant who never successfully found love on reality TV, fine. But then you ended up marrying a woman 18 years your junior, whose frontal lobe like still hasn't fully developed, and you're giving relationship advice, and who allegedly had an affair.
But doesn't she work on the show every day? I mean, isn't she literally on like the co-host?
Yeah, she is now.
Has she ever commented about any of this? About any of
they've never addressed the extent to which they've addressed the cheating rumors is it's no one's business. We're not public figures. It's no one's business. They've like called themselves not public figures. So, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's really, but guys, go check out that podcast. Hopefully a lot of you guys will, and be very kind and supportive.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks
for the plug. Thanks for the plug.
And be kind. And so, hey, this is why Sophie does it, so she can plug these amazing things. No, it truly is. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to hear more. I will say too, something I disagreed with you in the first episode, but agreed with Christy, was that, once again, you gotta stop this with like the wedding talk if people don't want to hear about your wedding, because for me, that's what, like, I was talking to Maritza about this the other day. I'm like, those to me, those little moments to me are the thing that I love the most when I get to listen to a podcast, is when I get to feel like, oh, I know what's going on in your life, like that's exciting to me.
Okay, so now is your turn to skip if you're listening to this and you don't want to hear about wedding planning, because I know there are those of you out there that don't want to hear it. But yeah, we're like less than a month out, and I just like don't recommend planning a wedding. Like I just don't recommend it. It's like really stressful.
Has it? We see this in movies a lot where it almost makes the couple fight and like, oh, like on Father of the Bride, the Steve Martin movie, the couple gets into a huge fight because of like these wedding gifts they're receiving, and then Steve Martin, the dad, has to go have drinks, and he's the one that convinces them like, hey, everything's fine. Have we gotten into blowout fights yet? And I know you're in laws
Honestly,
right now, so
honestly, yeah. Like it's stressful.
Really?
It's really stressful. It's just like it feels like a full-time job on top of having a full-time job. It's just like there's always something to do. As soon as you cross one thing off, it's like there are like 10 more things that you need to get done. And now we're like in the final countdown, and I'm just like, I don't want to be at the point like, the week of our wedding being stressed about things I still need to do. So like now I feel like within the next 2 weeks, I need to get everything done. So I'm not stressing myself out the week of our wedding. There are just like a lot of things to figure out still. And it's just like, and now I'm like,
your bachelorette party last weekend.
Oh yeah. My bachelorette was so much fun. I have the best friends in the world. Did you get blackout? Did I what?
Did you get blackout?
Honestly, no. And I drank a lot. I don't know why. I drank so much and I like didn't black out. I wasn't hungover. It was like something.
You're like a cast member of Summer House right now. Like, how are you doing
the universe was just like, just have a good time. It's fine. Like, you deserve this. But yeah, and now like I don't want to get everyone's hopes up about like Baxter, my poodle, being at the wedding, because logistically, like it's getting really complicated trying to get Baxter to the wedding. It's like Operation Get Baxter to South Carolina, and it's really difficult. So
does Baxter have like a list of demands? He's like,
he has like a whole rider.
Oh God, I hate when people Joel Kim Booster just came out against Baxter this morning. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Oh my God, we need to talk about that.
So Baxter might not be there. Wow, so I might really be the ring bearer like, after all.
I'm getting emotional thinking about it because if he's not there, like I know I will feel like something's missing, but at the same time, like him, like that entire week being there, like having to figure out yeah, like having to just make sure that he's okay and taken care of while we're running around, and like it's a lot. Like I just want to do what's best for him. So yeah, basically I'm just like ready to be done with this.
Dude, I'm gonna cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation this. I'm gonna go kidnap Baxter, bring him to your wedding, and then just present Baxter at the wedding.
You know what? I said this to Henry. I was like, if we were like so rich, we could just like pay someone to like fly Baxter down like day of, and then just like fly him back. Like,
well, I mean, I know Baxter was huge friends with Diddy, and now that's all ruined because of the whole indictment, so that we can't use Diddy's jet anymore.
I know. It's so we're just like waiting for like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? I know Baxter's on those flight logs.
Why is Baxter keep asking for baby oil? What is going on here? Okay, well, I'm sorry to bring out. I mean, like, listen, I know how stressful it is. I've been there before.
It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Yeah.
I actually was working on the seating chart. I was working on the seating chart, and like that's when I was getting really excited because I was like, oh my God, all of our people in one room. Like, you never get to do that in life. It's just like that is what's getting me excited. And Ryan, you're going to be at such a fun table. Don't worry.
Is it the kids table? It's the kids table, isn't it?
It's like literally our toddler nephews. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, and by the way, listen, and I will say this just before we get on to the actual, is it a pity invite? Did we get a pity invite, Sophie? Is it like a pity?
Ryan,
or is this did your mom make you invite me, or did Henry make you invite me?
Shut up. I know what I was just thinking about though? There were like some people where it's like, oh my God, I'm so like, they'll like write in their RSVP thing, like so honored to be invited. And I'm like, were we not as close as I thought we were? Like, of course you're invited. Like,
really didn't think this would happen.
Amazing. I know. I'm like, this is awkward.
Okay. Well, anyway, we cannot wait for all of this to happen. I'm so excited for the podcast. I'm so excited for the wedding. Everything's coming up, Sophie, like I said. But unfortunately, there are so many other things that are gone askew in this world. And I truly don't even know where to start. Like, I truly don't know where to start. And I guess we can start with, and I know you're probably not even caught up, so maybe I can explain it to you, is OC. That this morning, Sunday, OC, but there also now is a different part of the OC story because
Joel Kim
Shannon
Booster.
Beador, the last 3 weeks, has been filming a show called Love Hotel. That's the working title. I've talked about this on the show, where it's Countess Luann, Giselle, Ashley, and Shannon Beador at this hotel, and it's like a dating show, like a Love Island thing. 3 weeks in Cabo. Now, I had no clue that comedian Joel Kim Booster was the host of this. I had no clue, not an inkling. I didn't even know there was a host. And then I wake up this morning to all of these screenshots from Joel Kim Booster overnight, just going hog wild on Shannon Beador. And I'm going to read these to you and then we can talk about it. This is the first one. Just because you're a pathetic drunk on a reality television show best known for a string of failed relationships and a DUI does not make you a star and does not give you license to treat the people you work with like they are subhuman, period. They will make me delete this, but DM me if you'd like to see some videos. Bezos. So that's cool. He drops the Lisa Barlow Bezos party, the Salt Lake. And then he Instagram stories this directly after. Well, that was quick. Anyways, don't regret it. Hope you screenshot it. Hope she suffers. So obviously he was being made to delete, but then he does another one and he says, well, let's just say I can't imagine what John Janssen went through. Poor guy. Then this is part of the whole story. I found this from Face Reality 16, but this part is from Bravo Historian. So Sam Bush, somebody, I think this is from a DM or a text, goes, Sam, I had no idea Joel Kim Booster was hosting Housewife or Hotel or whatever it's called. He just went on live. I guess he went live, you guys, and cooked Shannon Beador. Like he roasted her, chopped her up and served her for breakfast. Said she has been a terror for the entire 3 weeks, humiliates the crew, was hideous to him, and that at the wrap party just a few hours ago, she was terrible to someone he really loves. And he got in her face and said, you think you're a star? People don't like you. They pity you. And then he said, the daughters are just as bad. This is all like his,
it's a lot.
His Instagram stories have been deleted, except for he left the one where he put, this is great. Let me see if it's still up. And I did a little digging to, let's see. Oh yeah. He said, I'm so in love with this absolute goddess, would go to war for her. And he tagged this lady, Honey Triff. And Honey Triff is Trafari White. And then I went to IMDb and Trafari White goes by, the last name's different on IMDb, but she is a producer on reality television shows. So that leads me to believe she is the producer that he is talking about in these messages of Love Hotel that he says was very rude to a very good friend of mine. And he left that one up. So having all of that information, Sophie, what are your thoughts?
I think it's really unprofessional of him. Like, I mean, that may be true, but like, are you a professional? Like, I don't know. And I think the part where he brings her daughters into it, I think is like a little bit below the belt. Also saying he hopes she suffers. Like, hasn't she suffered enough, first of all?
Well, I mean, okay, you're exactly. Like, here's the deal. And I want to say this. I have always thought Joel Kim Booster is hysterical. I've loved him when he's on Watch What Happens Live. I loved the movie he was in on Hulu. Fire Island. I mean, I have not up to this point. I think, man, this guy's amazing. I don't know him personally at all, but he's acting like a housewife. He's acting like he's Tamara here. Like, this is wild. And for a host, you guys, like, people are saying, well, he needs to speak his truth. I understand what you're saying, but as fans, we can speak our truth. Once you're actually hired in a professional capacity, like I said, I had no idea he was even hosting. Like, and somebody was also saying, oh, maybe this is like publicity. Everybody always now says, and maybe this is publicity for the show.
A PR stunt.
I can guarantee you it's not a publicity stunt, because who would actually kind of use their own public persona, their own name, Joel Kim Booster, and say to other job interviews, oh, yeah, weren't you in that kerfluffle online where you badmouth somebody you were on a show with?
Yeah, it's like not a good look for anyone involved.
That was just a PR stunt. No, there's no way this is a PR stunt. Like, I believe he truly believes this, but when you're paid by Peacock or NBC Universal, unfortunately, as a host, when you accept that position, you got to keep your actual feelings, I would imagine, like maybe in a year from now, after this show is out and done, you can talk about the experience of making the show. But I'm sorry, I feel like I even have experiences that through this business that I have not been able to talk about just because I have to do this show. You know, like that's the part that I'm trying to make it work in my mind.
Totally. And I know that Shannon, like, by all means, like, she's no angel. She's no angel either, sweetheart. Like, I know that Shannon Beador is no angel. I know that, you know, she did drive drunk. Like, she's made a lot of really bad decisions. But also, like, why are you, again, as a host in a professional capacity who's working with her, putting her on blast like this? Like, I just don't think it's a good thing to do. It's not a good look for him. It's not a good look
for the production.
Yeah, exactly. And also, again, like saying, I hope she suffers. Like, what?
Well, you don't want this to be another situation like Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco, where now we never see the light of day with this show. Because, I mean, really, everybody on Bravo is so litigious now, which we'll bring up in a second in regards to Tamra. But, like, you've got to be really careful what you put out there if you're working on these shows, because we are all rabid. We are rabid. We take any little piece of information. There's a bunch of detectives out there that are Bravo fans now, and every little piece of this will be looked at. And you've now just shown a giant spotlight on this. The part that really, like, you keep mentioning the suffering part. The part that really kind of disturbed me was DM me if you'd like to see some videos, Bezos, because isn't that exactly what John Janssen did in regards to these Ring camera videos that like Alexis keeps threatening that he is going to release if Shannon did not pay these 70? Like, it's the same damn thing. Like, why would Joel seems like such a smart dude. Why would you put that? And by the way, two things can be true at once. I read a comment saying, oh, I can't wait to see how you're going to defend Shannon. I will say, obviously, where there's smoke, there's fire. Shannon probably can be very difficult to work with. And we've seen it season after season. We've seen that. But also, I want to point out, and there's never, like us Bravo fans, we sometimes forget what nuance is. There's no nuance. We're like sledgehammers. But imagine if you are opening up certain parts of your life for public consumption and then seeing how you are portrayed season after season, just how internally that must mess with you on everybody on that cast. And I'm sure sometimes you are probably not the best person to be around or work with because you've just done a scene where you've been, you know, where you come off potentially looking like an idiot for the 1,000th time. And I'm sure that really gets you like nervous, paranoid, angry. But I just want people to keep that in mind as well. But I'm not saying that this all can't be true. It just shocks me that the host of this show, before the show has even seen the light of day, has come out with all of this, because you have to think, oh, their wrap party was last night. They wrapped production. So the party was last night. Was Joel drinking? Like, what was behind all of this?
Right. Yeah, I don't understand it. And yeah, exactly. It's like, even if Shannon is the worst person in the world to work with, which like she totally could be, like, it would not surprise me. Like, I just think the way that he has gone about it is like just bizarre. Like, was he drunk? Probably. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It also does seem like he's kind of shooting himself in the foot. Like, you've been hired to do this really cool thing, which is host this really amazing sounding show that a lot of people want to watch, and you're making yourself look really bad. So yeah, I don't.
And you know what he just did? You know who's going to host the second season? Nick Viall. You just gave Nick Viall a job, Joel. You just gave Nick Viall.
God help us. God help us.
No, I was really shocked. And Joel has not said, like, somebody said, oh, Joel's Twitter feed was hacked last week, so maybe this is a hacking. And I was like, oh, maybe that's a really specific hacking, but maybe
that's a really specific thing that like a hacker would do.
It's Lisa Rinna, you know, but like a very specific hacking. But I will say he's now done a bunch of Instagram stories promoting like appearances that he's making, and he has not said anything about being hacked. So I think we can assume this is truly
it was
Joel
him.
Kim Booster. So by the way, Nick Viall will probably get the first interview with Joel. So I'm excited to see where his perspective. I just can't imagine legally what this means contractually. If you think about how all this stuff is put together, like what calls did he wake up to today? And I know he thinks of himself as a lot of people do in the industry as an artist. Like he must have thought he was really taking a stand. I was trying to think of this all different angles, and I just almost I was just short circuiting.
I know, I'm like at a loss. Like I just don't understand what do you get out of doing this right now? Like that's what I just don't understand. Like I maybe like down the line, like once you're like done with the show, but it's like you are presumably under contract, and I just like I don't understand why. I mean, she must have been so like making his life such hell if he really could not hold back from posting these stories.
Yeah. That's what I keep thinking. But now we're going to watch this show and we're going to think about like, wait, this actually seems like a fun, cute show. Where's all this dark drama that we heard about from Joel? We don't know if we're going to see frame one of any of this behavior because the producers might be trying to like do this silly, fun dating show with Shannon Beador. And there's like this whole darkness behind it that we now know.
Oh,
you know who I thought would
after this drops, we need like a behind the music.
Yeah, but in 10 years, this will be a great behind the music. The only person that I thought could potentially be really happy today was Tamra after this news dropped, but Tamra has had her own issues this weekend. Listen, she had a really bad weekend. First off, she had to be on my show, so that's not a good start. Tamra was on So Bad It's Good on Friday. I talked to Tamra on Thursday and I was shocked. I told the audience I was shocked to have that interview. By the way, thank you for the people that listened. And I tried to, but I will say, I hear the people that say they're disappointed in me. I'm so sorry to disappoint
you. For platforming Tammy Sue.
For platform, but I was like, guys, she doesn't need platform. She's got a bigger podcast.
She's got
this
a platform.
Through Bravo. This is Bravo. But like, I try to
ask. Okay, Nick Vile, you get the big guests now. Oh my God.
Well, no, I mean, you know what? I think it was a decent conversation. She really held true. Like she really sees it a certain way. But then over the weekend, this all started. I talked to her Thursday during the day, and then she did Watch What Happens Live that night. And she said a comment during Watch What Happens Live. Now, Ryan Boyajian, who is Jen Pedrante's fiance, she said in this week's episode that his house was raided by the FBI. There's an investigation into the baseball scandal involving Shohei Ohtani. And he was robbed of $16 million by his interpreter. Now, I read you guys the charges in the papers on Friday's episode, but he was caught up in this as potentially funneling money as one of the people that was funneled money through, and then they would go gamble this money in Vegas, allegedly. So during this appearance, Tammy said, by the way, bigtreat.com and Vina CBD, those are two of Tamra's companies. You know what, Ryan? We sell more in a month than what you stole from that Dodgers player. This is what she said. Then Ryan, I don't know if this was already in the works, but Ryan allegedly, or we saw a picture, of paperwork Tamra was served. He is suing Tamra for this statement and potentially for other statements. What do you think about when all of these housewives start suing each other? And he's a house husband. They're not even married yet, but like now, like the Band-Aid's ripped off. We've got the Shannon lawsuit from John, and now we have the Ryan lawsuit against Tamra.
I mean, I've seen some takes that are like, come on, like it ruins the fun when you sue each other. Like, come on. And it's like, you don't get to like lie with impunity though. Like, I think that when you are lying on people the way that, Tamra might be, you can expect to get sued. It wouldn't be the first time that Tamra has been sued for lying about people on camera, about serious allegations. So like, it just like, it is what it is. I know that like for some people, it's like, oh, well, you're ruining the fun. Well, it's like, I mean, actions,
but overall,
you
want people to tell the truth overall.
I mean, it's like, it's not like, oh my God, it adds so much drama when you like talk about these like bullshit, like allegations. Like it doesn't add that much by like like, I believe in housewives having free speech, but like, if you are going to lie on someone, then you can expect to get sued. Like, I think that like, that's just, and it's what Tamara does. Like, she has been over and over again. I mean, Jim Bellino, wasn't there like something
Oh,
else
you guys. Well, this is what's so there's so much more now to this story is that so later, like on Friday night, Tamara posted a video of her and Eddie walking in New York, and she said, "Did you guys watch What Happens Live? It was so good. I will say I was a little bit tired. I did misspeak a little bit on a couple of things. I didn't mean to say that Ryan stole the money. I meant Vina made more money than what was stolen from the Dodgers player. But I didn't mean Ryan, so I apologize for
See,
that
she's
because, like,
walking it back already because she knows
well,
that she messed up.
because like Andy Cohen said, you're innocent until proven guilty. And Eddie was like, yep, you're innocent until proven guilty. And so then somebody on Bywig Hello Drama, I love that account, said one listener wrote, trying to avoid a new lawsuit, it seems, convenience to misspeak on a public platform. I don't buy anything this woman is selling. And Ryan, the guy involved in this, responded, facts. I had Tamara served yesterday, hence the apology. So he got served, and that's why she had to apologize and also apologize on her Instagram stories. Now, the interesting tidbit here is that Ryan has hired the same attorney as Jim Bellino. So now we have the Bellino connection.
Yes, I did see that.
And I mean, this is wild. Hired, he goes, yes, I already did. I hired Jeff Neri, which is the same amazing attorney that represented Jim Bellino in his victorious slander and defamation lawsuit against Tamara years ago. She was served yesterday. Hashtag round two. I hate when we hashtag round two. Hashtag round two. Ryan, we're grown men. Like, if we're going to do it silly,
wait, what's
let's
his name? The lawyer's Jeff Neri.
It is Geoffneri. Jeff Neri. That's the same. But I
love people, how he just like has Tamara's number. Like,
well, I will say what's interesting. He's truly acting like a housewife because these other ladies sometimes, like I said, Tamara's spitting circles around them. But all of a sudden, it's like you've got all of the rogues gallery of former OC people coming out in droves. So today I was sent a video of Kelly Dodd making a video that she posted. I don't know where she posted this. Somebody sent me a TikTok, was like, we should all get together and sue Tamara. She said about me on the show that I suck D for money, and that's definitely not true. I'm going to sue Tamara. We've all got to sue Tamara. And I was like, holy balls. And
oh my God, should we do a class action?
Oh God, somebody said, I was like, I got to go back and listen to my interview because she talked about Ryan on it. And I was like, oh my God, I do not want to be called in any case at all.
Oh my God, you're going to have to take the stand.
Yeah. I get a decent sized guest and then I take the stand and Nick doesn't. Nick doesn't have to take the stand on this. Great. No, that's great. Lock me up. Free Ryan Bailey, free Diddy, and free Ryan Bailey. So this happened. And then Jim Bellino posts today from his jacuzzi. And he's like, I've been thinking a lot about forgiveness, thinking about, and Jim Bellino's going like, listen, these people do horrible things. And obviously he's referencing Tamara. And he's like, recently this person that I've had an issue with in the past, this person was defaming my friend. And listen, no matter what happens, you got to forgive. So I forgive. I release my anger towards you and I forgive. So you even have Jim Bellino coming out and then it's too much. And then Jen Pedranti posts a picture today of hanging out with OC housewife Katie Janela and dun, 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 Gretchen Rossi. Gretchen is back and they're talking about teaming up. And then Vicky Gunvalson comments on this. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork. And that's what I was saying. It was like a hurricane of force against Tamara. But then Shannon steps into mess. And now we've got people looking at Shannon again. This is insane.
My God. Leave it to Shannon. But it actually is crazy how many enemies, like when you list like Gretchen and Vicky and Jim Bellino, it's like all of these people are sworn enemies of Tamara's now. It's like, I also was reading that when Jim Bellino sued Tamara, wasn't it because she had said that like people like died at his trampoline factory farm,
so it was
play place or whatever it was.
Well, the funny thing, it was a lawsuit against Shannon, Tamara, and Heather McDonald. It was a lawsuit against the three of them, and that was it. Was that they were joking around, and obviously that never happened. But that was slanderous.
And
they ended
up settling for about $1 million apparently.
Well, I didn't know it was that much. I thought it was like 200,000 or something.
No, that's what I was reading today. That it was like $1 million allegedly.
But see, so that's like, why, guys.
Like, learn your lesson by now. Learn your lesson.
Well, I mean, it's hard because, like, God, well, that's Alexis in this week's episode. She really wasn't in it, except they had flashbacks to talking about something's coming. And it was the lawsuit that John Janssen put out the next day. And it was like picked up by People magazine. And so people are making those connections of like, listen, Jim Bellino sued successfully. People think that Alexis is involved, even though Tamara told me there's no way she's involved. But people are saying that, like, I don't know if John Janssen was an extremely litigious man in a past life, but we do know Alexis, through Jim Bellino, knows their way around a lawsuit. So that's where people were bringing Alexis into it. And part of me, it's like, that's a fair assumption. I would deduce that as well of, were these actual conversations with Alexis to John going, yeah, we should sue for that money back and release it to the public. But it's so dark, Sophie. Like, you watch Salt Lake City, I was saying, and it's like, I laugh. I kind of like, this is so, there's like dramatic stakes, but I laugh. OC's just dark.
Sounds like it's I don't even know. Is it worth me catching up on OC? I'm like 4 weeks behind now.
Well, I mean, I think I caught you up kind of, but like,
yeah, I feel like it's not
there are some, I mean, there's some really funny moments that like you can, but at the same time, Shannon, your heart does go out to her. And once again, I'm just confused. I'm confused. But wait, did you watch Salt Lake City, Sophie?
Yeah, I'm caught up on Salt Lake City. It's so good. No. It's so good this season. We didn't need Monica. How funny is it that everyone's like, what are we going to do without Monica? Like, we don't need her.
That's what I said. Hey, proved me wrong, because I thought, what an opportunity, what a missed opportunity to have Monica come on and continue to answer why she did all of these things. And they've had a fantastic first 2 episodes where it's hysterically funny. You have all, by the way, Whitney should have begged for Monica to be allowed back on, because now she's the punching bag at the end of every episode. I love it. I mean, I love it. It's just, what have you liked so far? What have been some of your favorite moments?
I love Bronwyn. I think the newbies have been really good. Like, Bronwyn is kind of like what you want in a housewife. Like, she has like the crazy fashion, the crazy house, like the really old husband. She's already like getting in the mix with like the, you know, Mary versus Brittany and like all, like, I don't know. I'm like into it. And then Brittany, I think, is really fun. I think that she's a fun addition.
Brittany. Extreme insecurity. She's dated this Osmond guy for 7 months, but they broke up 17 times. And then at the end of this week's episode, she goes, hey, we're Instagram official. He claimed me as his girlfriend. And it's a shot of her in a literal
in Costco.
In a Costco shopping cart where he says, shopping at Costco with my best friend. And I'm like, everybody, even Lisa Barlow was like, that's not claiming you. Everybody, one time you're in agreement on Salt Lake. And poor Brittany.
I was just going to say, and Mary was like, can you like explain why like we should care?
She goes, Mary, she goes, I didn't ask to know any of this information. I didn't ask to know any of this. I don't need to know any of this. Like, Mary just putting the pedal to the metal against Brittany. And Brittany's just, I like her. I mean, I like her
too. I like her too. I like her too. And I think the Mary, and I'm never going to like completely buy into the Mary hype. Like, I know she has her like funny line. She's made these first 2 episodes funny here and there, but she's also like so rude. She's like so rude and like doesn't bring a whole lot besides like those like random like mean quips. Like, she's just like really mean spirited, which is also like interesting given the fact that like, you know, she's a church leader. Like, she like literally is a wealth hoarder and a really mean spirited human being and racist.
So, all of those things. No, Sophie is like 100% right, but the only so I almost feel like you are that rude because it's almost a product of somebody that doesn't have anybody around them and literally talks to their mannequin heads in their
Yeah.
closet. Like it's somebody like that, but also not in defense of Mary, but I will say one of the more interesting moments that I don't think a lot of people paid attention to is that she kind of opened up in a talking head about her childhood and said, we had all of these kids. My mom was nowhere to be found. And it was like a little bit of an opening up. And if you put that in juxtaposition of that scene with her son, and if you know what happens to her son, that he actually got the law enforcement got involved, there's drugs involved. And if you see that scene, you can tell something is definitely going on. And we know we get to see more of it this season. So that's what is eye-opening to me, is that we are finally going to see Mary potentially share something real and not something that is just straight up rude, straight up insane. And I'm very curious to see how the other women react when that information about her son happens, because it'll be interesting. Like, she's so pointed about how everybody else raises their families and how they live their life. And when that happens, it's going to be interesting to see that, how she handles other people having opinions about her son.
What about how she was like, yeah, so like because when I was growing up, I didn't have a whole lot. Brittany goes, oh, I grew up poor. Also, I wasn't poor. How'd you get that? I wasn't poor. Don't you dare call me poor.
Yeah. And also, well, and Mary's just legitimately offended that she opened up about putting rolls in her purse. Like, I would never put rolls in my purse to eat. Are you kidding me? And then she goes, listen, that couldn't have happened when you were a kid because kids don't own purses.
Kids don't have purses.
I was like, that's perfect. That's actually really good logic, Mary. But like, listen, I love Brittany. I love bread. It would be great to have somebody just that I knew had rolls in their purse from time to time.
Oh yeah, no, I'm into it. I'm definitely into Brittany. And
what do you think about Heather Gay this season?
I don't know what to make of Heather yet. Like, I feel like Heather is like so cocky now because like she has a glow up and doesn't think she looks inbred anymore, which debatable. But
Sophie Ross is auditioning for the part of Mary Cosby. Sophie Ross is auditioning for the part of Mary Cosby.
No, I don't know. I mean, like, I am I know that I'm anti-Whitney. I think that Whitney getting ganged up on is
why are you anti-Whitney?
Because
so many people have been like talking about.
She does have a lot of things that she needs to answer for. Like, she does have a lot of things that she needs to answer for. Look, I'm on Meredith's side too about the bath bombs. Baths are her thing. And
oh my God, Sophie, Whitney had bath bombs years before Meredith.
Okay, fine, whatever. But her making fun of Meredith for like taking baths and then doing a whole campaign in the bath. Like, I'm sorry.
Wait, wasn't that scene hysterical with Meredith and her family making in the kitchen, like putting the bath bombs together? Did you watch that scene with the son and the daughter this weekend? And it I said, how sometimes with podcasts, like I listen to all my podcasts and audiobooks at like 1.5 speed. I felt like all of a sudden when they hit that family scene, it went to a 0.5. I was like, did my TV slow down? They all go.
It's just how they talk.
This pace that is.
Someone called them Meredith's like genetically modified children.
Allegedly.
I will say though, and I'm sorry if this is like controversial, it shouldn't be controversial, but like it is clearly, that as a Jewish woman, I appreciate Meredith talking about anti-Semitism and being Jewish. And if that's too political for you, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so like, that shouldn't be political or controversial. Like, it shouldn't be. I was going
to bring that up because first off, I mean, like, there are so many aspects of that. And I said it on my recap, is that I truly think it's like a beautiful expression. Like and like, I understand it was very real. And I think I'm really curious to see where this storyline goes. Like, because, Leah McSweeney converted to Judaism on her second season of Real Housewives of New York, but Meredith has always been Jewish by heritage. And I really respected what she said about all the hate in the world right now. And this is something positive. And obviously Seth is very touched about this whole thing, but I thought it was like great of like Seth immediately perving out of like, I can't wait to talk dirty to you in Hebrew. Yeah.
I know. He's so annoying. He's so annoying. But yeah, basically it was just like, I, feel more connected to my Judaism than ever. And I want to get bat mitzvah. I don't think it's a legitimate storyline. It's kind of annoying if
Are we
that's
going to
her
see?
storyline.
Is she going to have a bat mitzvah? Is she going to have a bat mitzvah?
I mean, I guess
it?
we'll see.
We got
but
it,
like
right?
the fact that like that's controversial apparently says more about the people that are taking offense to that. If you have a problem with Meredith being in touch with her Judaism, then I'm sorry, I have something to break to you that you just don't like Jews. And it made me uncomfortable how controversial that was, because as a Jewish person that I feel like, there is a lot of hatred in the world right now.
Meredith Marks tweeted today about this actually, which I thought was really good. And I think, I thought this storyline, usually you would write it off, but the state of the world right now, you can't write these things off. She says, my family advocates for kindness and acceptance of all races, religion, and ethnicities. By learning about each other's journey, we can transform negativity into positivity and love. I spoke solely about my heritage, not politics. Refrain from using semantics to promote anti-Semitism. So she did put that out there today, and a bunch of other things that I suggest you guys go and read for yourselves. And listen, be offended that there's so many murder mystery parties as a storyline on these shows. Don't be offended when they actually have something real. Those are the little real moments that you can kind of like parse out that make these shows worthwhile, where it's like, and I always worry, I said, Sophie, I don't know what your take on this is, that sometimes like I just appreciate Bravo for trying, whether it be talking about race, whether it talk about religion, whether talking about sexuality, like sometimes they might not do it in the most deft way possible, but at least they're putting something out there that actually has real life consequences. So, I mean, I was kind of down for it. I was much more interested in that than the bath bombs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like,
if that is her storyline,
fine. What was that?
What was your bat mitzvah theme?
My bat mitzvah theme was literally just like my face. It was all about Sophie. It was my theme. Which, like, so when I tell people that, they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, it was literally just like my face, like pictures of me.
Rebecca's was the Oscars.
Oh my God, that's so cute. I went to an Oscars themed one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
At each table, I guess, had like a movie theme, and like her table was Casino. I was like, the Martin Scorsese movie Casino at 13 years old, you had a table for Casino? I was like, that's wild. She's like, it's a great movie. I'm like, yeah, it's a great movie, but like, did you have Boogie Nights? Did you have like, what did you like, a casino table at a bat mitzvah?
Silence of the Lambs.
Anyway, so I thought that was great, and I'm really excited to see where else this season goes. But
I'm excited. I'm super excited about this season. And again, I'm sorry if that was like too political, me talking about being Jewish and like Meredith talking about being Jewish. Like, I'm really sorry.
Wait, Rebecca is in the other room and she just heard me screaming, and she said, Boogie Nights wasn't out yet. It would have been a table if it was. So, okay, sorry. My bad.
Fact check. Thank you, Rebecca.
Wow. Just got checked. So that was great. I do want to point out.
I'm sorry. That just made me want to watch it.
God. No, I rewatched.
Dirk Diggler.
And I also love Paul Thomas Anderson's other movie, Magnolia, that was right after Boogie Nights. It's way too long, but I love it so much. Shout out to Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace. What did you think of, I saw the ratings for Salt Lake is the lowest it's ever been. I don't understand this.
That's crazy.
I don't understand this.
Is that like taking into account Peacock or just the Bravo?
No, just Bravo, which I keep saying it's got to be because Survivor and Golden Bachelorette are on the same night.
Right.
So it's all on Wednesday night. So I'm sure that number is going to like jump up afterwards.
It's all happening.
Okay. It's all happening. Okay, so a little bit of time left, and we just barely have covered anything, but I do want to talk about Chappell Roan and also talk about Bowen Yang from SNL and how these two tie together. Is Chappell Roan, like on Thursday or Friday, had to cancel her 2 festival appearances this weekend for a music festival because she said, like, listen, it's all gotten to be too much for me. I need to take a mental health break, kind of saying like, and by the way, we've been talking about her a lot on this show over the last couple of months because the phenomenon of Chappell Roan has been insane. Just the rise of it. And it's got to be a lot. And it's, you know, especially because she came from being an extremely online person. If you checked out her past TikToks, she was extreme. She would love snark bait, by the way. And Chappell Roan was extremely online, and all of a sudden she's being asked political takes. She's being asked all of these things. And obviously it got too much for her, and she had to cancel these 2 festival appearances. Now, Bowen Yang, Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary premiered last night, and they did a weekend update bit where Bowen Yang was Moodang, the pygmy hippo, and kind of was making fun of saying like, listen, you guys don't know me. I'm just a pygmy hippo. I don't care about your parasocial relationship that you have with me in your head. I can't, you know, like this is my project. I don't need this. And was poking fun at the Chappell Roan of it all. And I thought he made some really good points. And then today, everybody's fighting about Bowen Yang, saying, how dare you come at Chappell Roan like this? How dare you? And I first off, I wanted to get your take on this, Sophie.
Well, like, I don't have some sort of like really like deep opinion about like parasocial relationships or like the misogyny that a lot of people like are accusing, like the accusations around Bowen Yang coming after a woman, Chappell Roan. Like, I just think that like when you texted me, Ryan was like, I want to talk about Bowen Yang as Moo Dang playing Chappell Roan. Like, none of these words are in the Bible, first of all. Second of all, I was just like, is it bad if like all I say are like mean things? And you were like, yeah. I was like, I just think the shtick like isn't funny. Like, I just think it's just like not funny. So that's like my
the shtick, but the shtick as in like don't make fun of Chappell Roan, or
no, just like Bowen Yang
shtick?
Like playing like he already did where he was like the iceberg.
Titanic,
like
the iceberg.
He's always like some sort of thing, and he's just like a sassy, like gay, like object. It's just like it's just like not like funny to me. Like I think they're like, I don't know, better ways to do comedy, in my opinion.
See,
so I just don't think that Bowen Yang, and I also don't listen to La Culturistas. I know that like a lot of people like love
canceled. You're canceled.
I know I'm canceled. Like, I don't know. I just like think that Bowen Yang's shtick of like that on Weekend Update on SNL, like just like isn't funny to me. I know that there have been a lot of, you know, accusations of misogyny because he is a man criticizing Chappell Roan, which I also think is like, are we saying that like,
okay, Sophie, yeah, this is what I was, this specifically ties into everything that we've been talking about this hour, whether it be Nick Viall, whether it be me, whether it be Joel Kim Booster, whether it be Bowen.
Whoa, it all ties together.
See? First time we've ever done that on this show where we tied it all in. Mind's blown. No, my thing is that like, is there okay, and I just want to say for my, like, sometimes those shticky things on SNL, like I've not liked. I was surprised that I did find that funny. And then I was reading the discourse around it today of people like really running with this, but also that thing about you're a man, and especially a gay man, talking about a woman's, you know, like talking about a woman's space, all of these things. And so like, does that, as a woman, like, I can't speak for that. Like, is there a really solid point there?
I don't know. Like, maybe I'm like inconsistent because I'm like, Nick Viall isn't allowed to talk about us. But like, I mean, I don't think that any woman is above being criticized because she's a woman. And I don't think that only women should be able to like comment on each other when said woman is a public figure. Like, I think that that's just like setting such a weird precedent that like, I don't think makes sense. I think that Chappell Roan's fans in particular have such an insane parasocial relationship with her that like, of course, anyone criticizing her is going to get, like, if it was a woman criticizing her, it would be like, you don't support other women.
Yeah.
You're a picky. Like, it's like, you can't win if you criticize someone with those types of fans. Like, can you imagine if SNL did a bit like making fun of Taylor Swift? Like, there would be like maybe like a public like hanging tomorrow in the streets of like,
I mean, that's the other thing too. I'm like, it's fucking SNL, you guys. It's like a comedy show.
It's
like,
just not
at
that
some
deep.
point, we're all going to be up for making fun of. I've been made. Everybody's going to be made fun of. You know?
Exactly. And I think that Chappell Roan has like, you know, she hasn't done herself many favors the past few weeks. So yeah, people are going to be poking fun at her and criticizing her. It's just like, it is what it is. I think that her fans
Well,
obviously don't like that, and like they're never gonna like that. And like, I don't know.
but even
Like,
Chapel, like you can't, like Chapel has like is realizing obviously the hard way. It's like you can't win the internet, and it's futile to
right,
even try. Like you just can't. Like people are gonna love you, hate you, and then sometimes they're gonna hate you then after they love you, and sometimes they're gonna love
right.
you after they hated you. Like you will drive yourself mad trying to like fit in, and I imagine it's frustrating when you just want to go sing your songs. Which I will say, for all of this fuss about her, guess what? Her album. I thought this was great. Her album had its biggest week. The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chapel Roan returns to its peak number 2 ranking on the Billboard 200 with 105,000 units sold, its biggest week ever. So this week, even
Wow.
though she would like it had her biggest week in sales, and all it took was just a lot of people hating her. Like all it took,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
No, but I think that's what it comes down to. What you just said. It's like you come to the realization that you're never going to make everyone happy. And it's like all of these statements that she keeps coming out and making, and she's digging herself in a deeper hole, especially with like the Kamala stuff and mispronouncing the name Kamala in her video, which also people piled on her about. Like, it's like you're never
well,
gonna appease everyone, you're never gonna make everyone happy. It's like you need to accept that. And even us, like, I know that, like, we're like celebrities in our own right. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like, we get criticism, and
oh
if
yeah,
we
oh yeah.
reacted to every piece of criticism, which I sometimes do, like that one person who said they don't give a fuck about my wedding, and then I bring it up every time I talk about my wedding now.
Oh, it sticks there,
um
right? It's I was talking about
but
no,
it's like,
I was talking to my therapist this week about this. I mean, it really does. It's like, and especially I think a lot of us that even do this or attempt to do this or even like love pop culture, we're extremely sensitive individuals, which are like, how if you
yeah.
talk so much shit, how can you be sensitive? Like it is wild, but that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of gray area. And we're not known for nuance, a lot of the
Yeah.
times when there's so
But
much
also,
gray,
like, the longer you do it, the thicker your skin gets. Like, some things are just gonna, like, hurt
And
no matter what.
Sophie,
But it's
sometimes I don't know if
sometimes,
that's true,
yeah,
man.
not necessarily. I feel like the silly comments that I feel like would bother me so much, like, 3 years ago, like, now I can kind of just like, "Okay, yeah, I have vocal fry. Like, what do you want me to do about it?" It's like little stuff like that. But again, it's like if you, like, reacted to every piece of criticism, like, you would just be, like, digging yourself in a deeper hole and making yourself more miserable, and like
Yeah.
not really like appeasing anyone. Like, it wouldn't
Oh,
you
dude.
wouldn't be accomplishing anything. So it's like I feel like that will just maybe come with time. Again, like, her ascension has happened so rapidly that, like, I think she just needs to learn lessons the hard way,
Well,
maybe.
but it's like, what kind of career does she want to have? Like, do you want to have a Fiona Apple type of career, or do you want to
Yeah.
have a Lady Gaga type of career? And
Yeah.
like, like those are both like, those are artists to me. Those are artists and they have very different careers. Which one do you want to have? And sometimes you do have to disappear because things get really effing dark. Okay. God, the hour's all gone. We didn't even start. Okay, listen, we gotta start wrapping this up, but I do want to let's leave it with there are so many shows to watch this week. Obviously we have Salt Lake, obviously we have OC, but I want to say that I watched the first 6 episodes of the new season of Love is Blind on Netflix. It premieres this Friday. I
Oh, you
believe
are.
premieres
Oh
this
my
Friday.
God. Okay, you got a screener. I was like, oh my God, it's out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
No. So I think I did because I think I'm going to interview, and it takes place in Washington D.C. I'm not allowed to talk about, but I will say there was a moment where where I was in another room and I was watching and I said, "Oh God," and she was like, "Are you all right?" Like, and I'm like, "Oh no, just watching Love Is Blind." Like there was a moment where I audibly to myself goes, "Oh God, oh God,"
Oh, I'm
like
so excited. I love Love is Blind. I love that stupid piece of shit show. I love
it.
that show. Um, I also just finished Monsters about the Menendez brothers.
I'm on episode 6. I'm on episode 6 of
It's really good.
what did you think?
I didn't watch the Jeffrey Dahmer one.
Me either. Me either. After the
Because
first
it's like
episode, I turned it off.
too fucked up. Just Ryan Murphy is just like the twisted mind of Ryan Murphy. Way more twisted than M. Night Shyamalan, or Sam Levinson. Like, he is just like the most fucked up person. And like the amount of detail that he includes about, the sexual abuse that the Menendez brothers faced allegedly by their parents. I don't know. It's
episode 5, you guys,
disturbing.
is one static shot. Episode 5 is one static shot.
Yeah.
And it's just the lawyer and is it Eric
Cooper,
Menendez?
Cooper Cook, who's playing Eric Menendez, who like everyone is saying like that is his like Emmy submission because it's just one shot and it's just like unbelievable. And it definitely changed my perspective about like the case of the Menendez brothers, which I like was familiar with because I love true crime and I'm like very acclimated with all of the big true crime cases, but really like
I thought I was familiar, but I wasn't nowhere as familiar. And then I looked up that first episode. There's such a ridiculous moment. There are 2 ridiculous moments that happened. And I don't, like I said last week, I didn't want to give it away. And I was like, I said, Ryan Murphy, how dare you? This is disgusting. And then I went and looked and I was like, oh shit, this actually happened. Like, I didn't realize that the one brother, it's wild.
I know. Oh my God. Yeah. No, we won't spoil it, but I know what you're talking about.
Because there's like a camp, like there's a camp element to Ryan Murphy's work. So sometimes you're like, this is so serious and the acting's so good, but there's a camp element to it where you're like, this is ridiculous on top of being very realistic. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I heard the show Nobody Wants This. Speaking of Jewish representation, trigger warning, I'm talking about being Jewish. The show Nobody Wants This with Adam Brody playing a hot rabbi who dates Kristen Bell, who's a podcaster, I heard is amazing. And I'm so excited.
I can't. Oh my God, Sophie, you're going to burn through these 10 episodes. Aaron Foster created it. I had Aaron and Sarah on this past week, and it is so, I'm really curious now. And I almost feel like I'm hyping it up so much that I'm scared you're not going to like it, but I know I'm going to love it. I think it's really, really good. Also, speaking of Ryan Murphy, I do want to point out, did you see this? The new promo image for the new Ryan Murphy legal drama, All's Fair, starring Kim Kardashian.
Oh, God.
All's
so wait,
Fair.
She's apparently been in touch with the Menendez brothers.
Oh, yeah. She hung out with them last weekend with the actor that played the Menendez brother in the Netflix series. Can you believe that? Also, I didn't realize one of the Menendez brothers has a kid because he had a conjugal visit. Did you know that?
Actually, no. Which one, Lyle or Eric?
I don't know. I get them confused.
Now I'm like, yeah, is it Lyle or Eric? They used to be just like one person in my mind, like interchangeable. And now I'm like, they're so different.
Yeah, but anyway, the first promotional image for Kim K. You got to see this image. Look it up later because it's like Kim looking really intense and like perfect makeup.
So serious.
And we're going to see Kim Kardashian do a scene with Glenn mother effing Close. Halle Berry dropped out of this project, by the way, but Glenn Close is still in. Glenn Close is a fantastic actor. So I'm so curious to see Kim try to hold her own. I'm really just curious how this all works out. So that's out there. But yeah, I do want to say Nobody Wants This on Netflix is amazing. Also, I do want to really make a point to say this is something we watched last night that I loved. It's a documentary on Netflix called Will and Harper. It's with Will Ferrell and Harper Steele. And this is all about Harper Steele, who transitioned to a woman and is one of Will Ferrell's best friends that he met on the first day of SNL. And they take a road trip across country. And you're like, oh, Will Ferrell. Guys, it's one of the most beautiful, touching pieces of work. And especially if you don't not know any trans people in your life. And this isn't like, this is done so respectfully. And so there is a line in there that says, sometimes it's about making the unknown known. And a lot of people are so scared and so frightened and think certain things. And this really humanizes it to a very just base level of just humanity, of just love, of trying to be yourself and potentially feeling like you were not born correctly, that you always felt like you were not able to be yourself. I don't have the words. I'm not that good of a speaker to be able to do this justice, but I really would urge you, because there's also so many laughs. Like Will Ferrell, you just fall in love with this man, and not comedically, you fall in love with Will Ferrell throughout the course of this. Give it a shot. I know some people might be on.
To watch it.
Oh man, if you're talking about just multiple times you cry, you laugh, all of that stuff. So that's out there. Also Scamanda. Sorry.
What was that?
Scamanda, the hit podcast, it turns into a Hulu docuseries that premieres this Friday as well.
Ooh, I'm so excited for that because I love that podcast.
You might be hearing the person who did that podcast on So Bad It's Good very soon. So Scamanda premieres.
Speaking of Hulu, if you haven't watched Tell Me Lies, the second season has been out for a few weeks. I love Tell Me Lies. Again, another stupid piece of shit show, but I love it.
No. It's so popular.
I love it. Wait, how about, did you know that the showrunner DM'd me during season 1 because I was calling the actor who plays Stephen DeMarco ugly so much on Twitter that she was like, he's a real person. Like, your tweets hurt his feelings.
That reminds me of when Jimmy Fallon, you almost hurt Jimmy Fallon's he's like, please don't hurt my feelings. Jimmy Fallon, happy 50th, by the way. DM'd Sophie and said, please don't hurt my feelings. Please don't be mean.
I know.
Oh my God.
But yeah, the actor who plays Stephen DeMarco, I'm sorry, like he's not hot and that's nothing against him. But anyway, watch Tell Me Lies. It's really good, you guys. And this season is really good.
The showrunner reached out to you. Wait, can we also do a spin-off podcast of just DMs that Sophie's gotten throughout her career?
Being like mean on Twitter.
Also, you have premiering this week. You have Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of Potomac, both premiering this week. So I've seen the first episodes of both of these shows. New York, I don't know. I'll let you guys figure it out for yourselves before I put any of my feedback out there. But that premieres this week. Also, Dancing with the Stars, even though my favorite Anna Delvey is gone, that's on the air right now. Too much TV. But I know you were at your in-laws, so you got to go. But I want to promote Snarkbait. That is the new podcast that Sophie has that she's created with Christy, X Knows All. And I urge you to check this out. Let's just try to be nice with each other. I think you're going to love it, so I don't even need to say that. But like, be kind with it. We're all going through bullshit right now. Oh, also, do you see that new show coming out Tuesday night? The vice presidential debates? That looks interesting. That's going to be on Tuesday night. So get ready for a normal week, an extremely normal week.
An extremely normal one ahead of us.
Okay, what else you got this week besides the podcast, Sophie? Just more wedding stuff? What do we got?
Yeah, wedding stuff. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. Actually, I've been wanting to watch Trap for so long now. I haven't had one moment to just sit down and watch the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. Last night was my first opportunity, and I was with my in-laws, and no one wanted to watch it except me.
Wait, but it was you made your in-laws all watch Trap?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
They all said, we all don't want to watch this, Sophie, and you still made them watch it?
Yeah. And it also cost $10, and I was like, I'll Venmo you.
Have you Venmo'd him yet?
No.
Okay, you guys. I know, man, this felt like it was a minute. But thank you, Sophie. I know you're busy, so thanks for making time for us. And we really, really can't wait for this wedding. All of us. And we all want to hear about it. So, and if you don't want to hear about it, you're not in the right place. But thanks, Soph, and tell your family I said hi.
Will do. Thanks, everyone. Bye.